Hey, gorgeous. So, I'm going to at least attempt, with my limited softball knowledge, to dissect um, some of your old videos, mostly the few that I have of you before your surgery, and then compare those to your game at bats, because I think those are more useful to compare to anyway, since at the end of the day, what you do in the games is a lot more important than what you do in batting practice. Just to see, if there is anything different now that you're coming back from surgery as opposed to what you were doing before. And I don't know, maybe hopefully this gives you insight. Again, I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of softball like you do, so I'm just kind of going off of whatever I'm able to visually see. So what I was going to do first is just talk about a couple things that I saw, and then look at your game at bats. So here we go. So the first thing I noticed is, and I noticed this a lot in your old ones, is you actually tend to step out a lot more before your leg surgery, which is not entirely a surprise considering your plant foot over here is where you had your surgery. So you could step over here or step way over here, which you do at times, which personally from my experience in slow pitch is kind of important, considering you really have to go with the pitch in slow pitch. It's a lot. I think it's a lot different than fast pitch, because you have all that extra time. You kind of have to go with it in order to be an effective hitter, which is why I'm not that good of a hitter, because I never want to go to the pull side. No matter how much I would like to, I never want to do it. But anyways, so this, to me at least, is a good example. I'm going to slow this down. Whoops. Slow this down and then play it. Sorry, we're so lo-fi when it comes to recording. But if you watch, and if my math is right, or my numbers are right, there you go. So you started off, let's do that. Zoom that in real quick. You're going to have another hit coming up here. Oops. You're going to have a little step, which is another thing I got to talk about. Slow that down again. We're going to pause it. So your foot starts right here, which is another thing I've noticed, and I'll talk about that again, but your stance is, it's hard to tell here. So you step here. I'm going to keep the little mouse right there. But this is something I noticed, and again, I'll talk about it. You've switched over to a high kick, and I think that might actually be a detriment to you as opposed to a benefit. But like I said, I'll talk about that, I think, a little more later. You know me, I can't keep track of all the things I want to talk about, so I got to keep writing them down on my little notepad. But okay, so there you go. There's your foot right there in your first touch. And there's where it finished. Okay, so you notice that, that doesn't seem like much distance. That's why this angle kind of sucks. But that's something that I've noticed that you did a lot before surgery. This is the February 15, 2016. They had their Valentine's Day. That was a good Valentine's Day. But this is what I've noticed you do it a lot. You'll not only step here. I don't think I have one on the inside, but there is one where you literally start here and you step almost right here. So you have this huge range that you'll plant your feet, or that foot, to go with the pitch and then reset yourself. The only thing about that, and I don't know if you've noticed it, you do it occasionally, but not as much as usual, is you used to send the ball flying in this direction. You don't do it quite as much, and again, I'll explain that more as we get along. But one of the reasons why you were able to do that is when you took that step, you snapped your hips so early, your barrel came through so quickly, and then boosh, it would go in that direction. So that's something that I think has changed, is you don't take quite as an exaggerated excuse me, of a step in either direction as you did, during this phase in your career, I guess you could say. So there's that one. And another thing I noticed, and this actually I think relates to you even today, because it has not so much, it has nothing to do with your legs, it has everything to do with your hands. But this was a high pitch. You'll see it coming into the screen like here. So normally, especially in comp, your brain should be saying, no, we're not going to swing at this one. But unfortunately you do. And again, we're going to talk about that one too at some point. Yes, indeed. But this is one of your biggest Achilles heels. Again, that's I got to figure out a different cliche to use than that one. But this is one of your biggest weaknesses, I think, and what few you have, is the high pitches you do this. And there are times where you can get away with it, and I think you do well. But in this particular situation, this is what the norm is. But you do occasionally pull it off. But it's like I can, in league for the most part, I can do my little stupid left hand slap hit thing, get away with it. But in tournaments and stuff, it wouldn't fly. So, and I know that's important to you because you play tournaments. So this is what I've noticed for the high pitches. Let me slow it down real quick. Again, we're not focusing on your legs, we're focusing on your arms right here. So if you look, and I'll pause it for you too. Again, this pitch is going to come from about right here. So you set yourself up, little toe touch, and right there, you can see it right in there. Your barrel's already starting to flatten itself out down, which I think is a problem. But again, this is a pitch if you didn't have to hit this, you really shouldn't hit it. If you have to hit it, you're only doing what you can. But as soon as that barrel starts dipping right in there, especially considering the weight, not that you're not strong enough to, I got chicken leg arms. You got much stronger arms. Before you even go there, they're not fat arms, are there? So don't even do that. Otherwise, I guess I'm into fat arms. I think your arms are beautiful, but let's not go there. You definitely are much strong. You're strong enough to swing this. But even then, at a 27, that thing starts dipping, and right there, that's about as good as it gets. That is one of your biggest weaknesses. Is as soon as that high pitch comes in, this is exactly what you want to do. You come in with this big looping swing. And unfortunately, the majority of the time, occasionally you'll hack and slash a ball and get a single, but you don't like those either. But this is something I've noticed when it comes to the high pitches, is you tend to want to do this looping swing as opposed to keeping the barrel up and then drawing your hands through. So, I guess keeping the barrel like this, drawing your hands through. Who does this really well, if you ever get a chance to watch some of the videos, is Lou is very good at keeping his hands drawn up and drawing the barrel through. And that's something that You know, if we ever get a chance to do BP, you know, one-on-one or whatever, we should work on, because that would at least, I mean, they're not going to be, I really don't think you'll get many, you know, extra base hits or the home run you're seeking doing it, but coming through, and I know you used to be able to do it. The thing is, I don't know, because it's slower, I think you overthink it at times, but that's going to be a common theme in this whole thing. But this right here is commonplace on the high pitches, and in rec, unless it's the third pitch, that's inexcusable. You should just let it go. It's that you'll do this a lot, and you don't need to do that to yourself. Just wait it out. But that right there is a big common thing you do with the high pitches, and you can see you end up coming up on it, and that's an easy pop up. So that's a high pitch situation right there. Okay, so here's another example again of the high pitch situation. I personally think this is about as best as you can get. If you use this is essentially like your best situation with the way you swing right now. Unfortunately, it ends up becoming a grounder, which is something that you don't particularly want. So if you look at this, there we go. So again, your load. And keeping the barrel just a bit higher than you were doing in the last one, but then right there you can see it again. This time though, you're able to make contact here on the bottom side of the barrel, and that would amount to either a really hard single, or a potential catch by a very good shortstop. But it would definitely take a very good shortstop. But that's normally what happens, is you'll either pop up or you'll hit these grounders, which I know you don't like. And again, that's just coming from the fact that you have that very arcing sort of swing when it comes to the high pitches. Now this is a high pitch, or at least it looks like a high pitch, but this time you actually did keep your barrel straight through, and I believe, if I remember correctly, this ended up being a really nice shot into the grass. Again, not what you're looking for, but this is still a good hit considering, or a good outcome considering the pitch you were given. So if you have a look, slow-mo. As soon as it starts up. Barrel's still pretty straight up. Little less dip, but still some bat dipping right there. Not too much. But you're able to snap it through a lot straighter than you normally do coming upward like this. It kind of came like this and then snapped through. And you got that nice line drive shot. So that's what we need to aim for when it comes to the high pitches. Again, if you can avoid them altogether, like in tournaments, you should be anyways, because most of the ones that you swing at, most of these ones are easily going to come way in the backside, and they're not going to be strikes. So again, it's so different when you're playing rec, because you kind of have to swing at everything, you know, versus comp. But from a comp standpoint, I'm hoping most of this stuff, it helps you from a competitive standpoint as from a recreational standpoint. So this is another thing that I've noticed that you do a lot. Obviously, it's pretty noticeable when you end up sending the ball into the opposite, or one of the opposite fields. But you sometimes will take an early step. And this is a good example right here. So you're loading, you're going to load right here. And you take your step. So your step is already in place here. It's hard to see in this situation, but the ball, I think, is still, back a ways. There's the ball right there. So, to me, you're almost swinging with just your arms in this situation. You make great contact. This is a beautiful swing, and this is your signature gorgeous swing right here. But you're really almost just pushing the ball with your arms, which is pretty damn incredible considering the strength of your arms. If it was me, it'd be a little dinker, but that's another thing I've noticed is you sometimes will take a very early step, but you know that as well that you're really early on that one, so that's not too much of a surprise. Now, this is about half a month later. This is March 3rd, 2016. This honestly is a pretty damn good example of the kind of synced up perfection that your swing has, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so enamored and in love with it is your legs, your hips, and your arms are all in sync on this one. I believe this one goes fair, but this one is one of those ones that touches. It's so funny because I like to hit as far down this line as I can. You like to hit as far down this line as you can. But this is such a beautiful swing. So this is, if you wanted to look at it, this is like your prime, at least as of right now when it comes to your slow pitch swing. But this one was gorgeous. So looking at this one, give it just a second. There we go. So you load yourself. So keep an eye on this. So you load yourself just as you do nowadays. But see, rather than taking this big leg kick, which we'll see in a little bit, you just take your one little toe touch, which I think allows you a little more coverage because you're not committing. That's something that I'll bring up again. But you're committing a lot. As soon as you do that leg kick, you're kind of set on where you're going to go. This one gives you a chance to kind of readjust as the pitch comes at you. Because then you take a nice step just outside. Hands are drawing through, the hips are lined up. Great stroke. Not much dip. Enough considering, the pitch, because again, I'm not that great of a pitcher. Maybe, oh no, I don't know. No, this stayed fair. Yeah, that stayed fair. This is one of the ones you made Phil chase. But if you wanted to see that in fast motion, there it is. And you've had a few of these. You'll see in your at bats, but you have had a few of these. So it's not like you can't do it nowadays. But that was perfection right there, in my opinion. Alright, so now we're jump starting a year. This is actually a year and almost a month. So this is 3/26/2017. So this is after surgery. There's your beautiful Asics that you hate. And this is an example of, we just looked at it in the last one. You take your normal step here, but then you take just a small step here. This is when you start doing your big leg kick. But watch also in your swing. You have this very compact swing. I notice you used to extend your arms a lot more, I think, back then. Now you do this. I mean, it fluctuates, and it could have just been because of the pitch. But you'll see you have this very compact sort of swing. But the key here is you do this huge leg kick. So if you watch, there's your load. There's that leg kick. It's a bit of a loop, but again, it was a low pitch, so it is what it is. Well, one of the things that I've noticed is that step, and I've noticed it too because I'm also trying to mimic your swing. Once you kind of make that step, you're committed to that step. So if you have to readjust at the last moment, it can really mess you up. I think that's something that might be an issue considering you've changed that. You're not doing that small step that you used to do. The compact swing, again, that could have just been because of the pitch. And then I've also noticed, and you'll see it in the videos, the batting videos, your open stance is way more open than it used to be. It's kind of a interesting thing, but you definitely do keep a much more open stance. I don't know why that's the case, and I don't know if that makes too much of a difference, because either way you still reset yourself with your first load before you go into your second load to send it off. But that is something I've noticed, is you do this very high leg kick. This one's not even as high as some of the other ones you do, but you definitely do a much more elongated stride when you finish. Okay, so this one, it's still hard to tell, considering I usually view from this way as opposed from this way. But it looks like your open stance is more normal in this situation, but you don't take nearly the same leg kick stride, and you'll see this is another high pitch, but your hands draw through this gorgeously. So this is what you want to focus on with the high pitches. If you're going to have to go for these high pitches, this is what you want to do right here. This is a beautiful example of the correct way to go for those high pitches for your particular situation. So load, first load. Small stride right here, a little bit of a step out. But you can see this is going to end up right about here. But you see how you drew your hands in, compact. You're never going to get home run power from a situation like this, so there's nothing wrong there. But you drew your hands inside, brought the barrel through clean, and drilled that thing. That can easily, if it splits it, and even with your pseudo lightning speed, that can easily be a double depending on how confident you feel in your leg. But you don't like it, but that's as good as it gets for something that stupidly high. So that was a great situation right there. And the last thing I want to show you, and this is something that obviously I tell you every single time to do, is to relax. This is a good example. This is there's a couple bad hits leading up to this, and you're starting to get really upset at yourself. And this is what you do all the time once you start to get into your own head. This is very rushed. You are not someone that has to go and speed up everything she does. So right here, your step, and it's hard to tell here, but you whip your leg out, loop the ball around, and you end up not making good contact. It makes much more sense to watch it in full speed. And you can see you're upset right there. But you look at this, everything is sped up by yourself. Normally you're very smooth. There's no what's the word? I mean, you really don't expedite anything when you swing. Everything is so fluid, and right here you can tell, you're trying too hard to hit the ball hard, and you can't do that. It's just not who you are. Everything has to happen kosher, I guess, natural. But that's something that I've noticed when it comes to you, and especially in the games. If you get upset at yourself, you get very, very, very antsy. And when you get very antsy, you start rushing things. And when you start rushing things, it is not good. So that's one of the things that you need to keep reminding yourself is if you're getting upset, to step back and kind of recalibrate a little bit, because you make yourself a worse player when you do that stuff. Okay, so this is your game against Ice Cold Pitcher, so this is competitive. So you didn't have to swing at this, and this is a high pitch, and this is what I was telling you earlier. If you watch, I'm pretty certain it's, there we go. You're going to come right over the top. So load, first load, I guess. Real big load. And you can see it right there. Sorry, it's really hard to see, but you got a big dip. So by the time you hit it, you can see it doesn't seem like it's bad, but because of the contact, it's a swoop straight down, and it goes right to the pitcher. It's still a good play, but I think either way they would have snagged it. All right, so this is Rec. This is with Dan, obviously, and all of us in our playoff game. And this is one of those fun situations where you actually I don't think you step early. It's just the fact that you have such a fucking gorgeously fast bat speed, and it's annoying as hell because some of us plebeians over here with no muscle strength can't swing the bat that quickly. But this is where it gets you, is sometimes your bat speed is just too damn fast, and this is just a timing issue. But I mean, again, so I'll play this in slow mo. So load, or you'll step, load, step. I mean, it's not. Personally, I don't think it's that early enough that would have caused an issue. But your hips do come early. They're already open faced by the time the ball is here. So by the time you actually hit the ball, it's going way out there. A little bit of a loop, but nothing too bad. But this is just a situation, I think, where your bat speed is just too damn fast, girl. So this was, I think this is Tuesday. Yeah, because I think this is against Paula's Tuesday night team. Makes sense because you're wearing my shirt. Well, your shirt. Honestly, your shirt. Sorry, I thought there was someone in the background over there in my computer behind me. This is a pop-up. It'll land just in front of Don. You hate those. I don't blame you. I like them because I want to do anything in my power to get a hit because that's all I care about. So we're going to look at this one right here. But this one will land just over in that territory as soon as I play it. Okay, so your step. Load. And see, now you have that really exaggerated leg kick. So by the time you plant, which I think you did pretty good, you planted yourself as good as it's going to get. But you see, you kind of had to draw your hands in. And that should be an indicator that pitch is probably a little too inside for yourself to get any power. Now, I mean, this is where the mistake happened. If you kept your hands drawn in, you probably would have sent it through the gap. But you've done it on a number of occasions, and that's fine too. But there's not going to be no power in that situation because it started gunning you on the it's sort of handcuffing you on the inside, and because you take that huge stride. I don't know if you can take that huge stride and step over, because if you can step over enough, you'll open up your body enough so you can draw your hands through with a little more extension, and I think you can get a little more power. I don't know if you're going to get the kind of power you want from these in tight kind of a swing, especially with your bat, considering it's broken. But this is the cardinal sin right here. As soon as you started dipping like that, kind of came upwards on it. I don't know if I cut it. Sorry, I cut it off. And then there you go, and then it would drop in front. So there's one of the issues with the inside ones is you're starting to really draw your hands in too tight. And that's fine for singles, but that's not what you're looking for. I know you want more than that. Your power comes from your beautiful extension. Those big looping, extending arms coming through. You'll see now I'm going to start doing some of the nicer ones. But that's some of the little problems I've seen in the game at bat. This is still probably one of my favorite hits that you've had so far. And what's amazing is you still had this compact swing and you were still able to bring it through. And again, you're using a freaking bat that's probably broken, more or less. Like you're losing so much power because the thing flexes. But this was just right here. The key right here is the contact on the barrel was just incredible. Oops, sorry. So, not as big of a kick, but just enough. Set yourself. Draw the hands through, and you almost got that more on the handle. I mean, if you get that right here, which I know the sweet spot is right there. Okay. Yeah, it's a toy, isn't it? Sorry. Rocky's playing with my other mouse's USB plug thing. Anyways. Will that be a home run with any bat? No. But is that still a freaking shot and a half? Yeah, and it's pretty impressive considering, again, you're using a handicap bat and you were handcuffed on that one. Just a bit. Not much, but just a bit. Okay, so this will be the last one that I do for you. If you're still even listening, which would be pretty intense. This one was a freaking smash. And okay, Steve's an idiot, but whatever. Not that Steve. The other Steve over here. Steve's an idiot, and I mean, you're talking about the best player on Who Cares. Now, whether you want to, I don't know how you want to like go about that, but he is a good player, and you were able to split the gap between the two of them. That's pretty impressive. But we'll break this one down. Oops. So, your step, load. I think the key there, I mean, again, a slow-mo, it's different, but I mean, your step to power swing is about as close to perfect as they can get. It's a bit of a loop, but it did come down this way, so you did make pretty good contact there. Again, I think with a bat that doesn't have the wiggle, because I think the wiggle is kind of absorbing some of the impact, you probably get even more distance. But I mean, just look at this thing. I'm glad I was able to keep an eye on it with the camera. I mean, this thing, the launch angle on it may be a little high, but it's still got some seriously quick descent. And that lands right over there. I mean, and you know those two were playing you with respect. So I mean, they were playing back away. So that's a good knock. So to me, like I said, I don't know if this really helped at all, but I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I was finally able to get around to doing it. A lot of your technique is not bad. There's nothing wrong with your technique at all. Occasionally, some barrel dip, because again, it's really hard when that pitch is coming up high not to want to do that. It's really hard not to draw your hands and get handcuffed when you're coming inside, or reaching out for something on the outside, which you do at times. And then if it's down low, you can't help but loop yourself up. That's whatever. That's stuff that you can fix easy. The key thing is up here. Sometimes you just get into your own head, and you just got to let things go, get up to the bat again the next time, and focus on that pitch, focus on that moment. That moment is not the same as the previous moment before. That's the hardest thing to do, but it's the most important thing you can do as a player, is just realize every at-bat is a new clean slate, new opportunity to do something completely different. And I think that's what got you your first Friday night. I think you just kept building off the previous one. You were domino effecting off the previous one. Can't do that. That's just not how that works. I still think this is a problem, as much as I know you love this bat. And I've already told you I would buy you another one if that's really the one bat you want, or I'll buy you whatever bats you want if I need to, because I want you to use the tools. You know me, the tools are important. The proper tool is going to help you in the long run. If you're using the wrong tool, you're not going to be able to, get the job done nearly as easy. And you're putting so much more effort because you're using a bat that, unfortunately, I think has seen the last of its days. But it's still impressive how far you're hitting with a bat that is broken. Honestly, it's broken. So you should really give yourself credit there. But I don't know how much of this is going to help. I still think the leg kick, your really extended leg kick, is going to be great if you make good contact. But I think you narrow down your percentage of getting good contact. It's like Ichiro has always said that he felt like in his career he could have hit 40 plus home runs, but his average would have gone down. So you're sacrificing one for the other. In your case, I know you want those powerful hits, but I think at the same time I don't know. I can't speak for yourself, but I always love watching these hard line drives into the grass. I mean, seeing you hit a home run would be fantastic, because I know that's what you want. But in the long run, I would assume you want to do what's best for whatever team you're on, and the consistency would be a lot more important than maybe getting warning tracker better shots at the cost of not getting very many hits, because you can even see how frustrated you're getting, and I think that's going to be more detrimental to yourself than just getting these hard line drives. It's like you said, the hard hits will come, the long drives will come over time, but you can't think about it. You just gotta let it happen. But anyways, I really hope this helps. I kind of doubt it will, but that's just what I've noticed looking over the videos over the last at least the last 6 months, especially with the amount of videos I've had. And then more so the last 2 months with the game videos I've been able to get of you. But yeah, if you actually watched all the way to this point, then you are even more of an amazing woman than you already are. And again, I really wish you'd understand how much I appreciate you. You really are my inspiration for this sport. There's a reason why I love watching your videos. I try to emulate so many things about what you do, but come to the realization I'm never going to be the kind of hitter you are. You're a pretty amazing individual, and I see the old you coming back. I'm telling you, it's there, but your expectations for yourself is higher than it needs to be. You just gotta have fun. You hit so much better when you're just having fun. Stop being me. Don't be so calculating. Just be pure and free flowing. What? Stop. Just be pure and free flowing. That's when you're at your best. When you're happy and passionate and joyful, that's when you're at your best. But anyways, love you so much. And I will, I'm sure, at some point see you on the field. Bye, kiddo.